In full swing, it's gone final in Memphis. Game one of the Western Conference semis. Warriors and Grizz, the star power speaks for itself. First quarter tied at 12. Desmond Bane hits Curry with the cross. Look at Ja Morant dancing while the ball is in the air. Grizz in front by 3, and Ja kept that energy going throughout the first quarter. How about 5 of 9 shooting from the field? He had a couple of threes early on, 14 points through the first 12 minutes. Just under a minute and a half to go in the second. Keep an eye on Draymond Green. Hard foul on Brandon Clark. And then he grabs for the jersey as well, pulls him down. The referees get together. They upgrade the foul to a flagrant 2. Draymond is gone. Huge loss for Golden State. Closing seconds of the first half. Look at Ja going to work on Jonathan Kuminga. He's telling Kuminga, you can't guard me. Memphis in front by 6 at the half. Third quarter, though, here come the Dubs. In transition, Steph, give and go, gets it back. 3 and 1. Of course, he made the free throw. Dubs in front by 2, but the Grizz wouldn't go anywhere. Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., no. But he gets it again and knocks it down the second time. He had 14 in the third. Still in the third. Steph behind a screen. Drano drills that 3. Dubs led by 1. Headed to the fourth quarter. In the fourth, Clay to Jordan Poole. What a year he's had. Warriors in front by 4. Later, look at the head fake by Clay. Great fundamentals. And he hits that. Golden State in front by 6. But Memphis wouldn't go anywhere. Look at Jackson again. Gotta respect that out there. It's back to a 1-point game. Still a 1-point game. Steph, step back. You don't know me like that. 108-104 now, Golden State in front. Same score, 3.5 to go off the jump ball. Look at Ja in the open floor, finishing. Does that better than anybody in the league. It's a 2-point game. And then on the defensive end, look at the steal. Brandon Clark. Great job collecting that and laying it in. We are tied at 108. 2 minutes to go. Morant blows right by Poole and 1. Missed the free throw, but it is a 2-point Memphis lead. 40 seconds to go off the set inbound. Clay just so pure on the 3. Golden State up by 1. 4 seconds to go. Ja to the cup. There was contact by Thompson. The lefty layup does not go down, and the Warriors take game 1. Cassidy Hubbard with Steph after the win.
Is a return-waving Memphis moment of Memphis hoops history with 2022 Grizzlies playoff tickets for round 2, home game 2 with the Grizzlies out on the Golden State Warriors Tuesday, May 3rd.
So Steph and the Dubs take game 1. They steal home court advantage in this one. Jordan Poole, 31 points for the Warriors coming off the bench. 6th most for a player in a reserve role. It's the 3rd time in this postseason alone a 30-point score, with Steph scoring 30-plus off the bench in games 2 and 4 against the Nuggets. Malika Andrews and Jalen Rose with more on Game 1.
Welcome to our Los Angeles studio. Thank you so much. I've got to say, I'm Malika Andrews. This is Jalen Rose. My heart is still pounding after the end of that game. So let's start there, Jalen. Okay. The late game execution, because Ja Morant goes up for that layup. Jordan Poole gets the rebound, and both you and I were looking at the TV saying, where's the foul? What stood out to you there?
And normally a play that Ja Morant may finish on that layup, but once you miss it, you have to foul if you're Memphis. I know you're thinking Jordan Poole's a great free throw shooter. I know you're thinking Steph Curry's a great free throw shooter, even Klay Thompson. But it makes it a one-possession game. And coincidentally, when they fouled Klay, he went to the line and actually missed. So it was the youth late in particular. And also keeping Bane quiet. He only had 9 points. Coming into this series, he was their leading scorer coming out of the first series.
And Ja Morant told me that he thought Desmond Bane was their best player in that previous series. But let's back up a little bit, because a whole lot happened in this game. We have the Draymond Green flagrant 2 and ejection. We see Steph Curry pick up a 5th foul late. They challenged that call. It was not overturned. What did you learn from this first game?
the resilience and the championship DNA that Steph Curry talked about not only plays out late in basketball games and how you execute, but it allows Jordan Poole to flourish as well. And so now all of a sudden, if you Memphis, you waste a great opportunity playing at home. Jaren Jackson Jr. was fantastic. Melton gave great minutes off the bench, and so did Brandon Clark. That was their game for the taking, in particular when Draymond gets ejected. And lastly, if you're the refs, you cannot eject Draymond Green. You just can't do it. Like, he tried to hold him up from hitting the ground very hard. I just don't think that was an ejectable play.
Well, there was that call, and then there was the jump ball at the end that both of us were jumping. I'm just going to give you the floor,
But because here's the thing. That's a cop-out by the ref. Okay, late in the game, if you don't want to make the big call, you know what you do? You call a jump ball. You know what I mean? Like, we saw that should have been Golden State Warriors ball, and this is what I told you. Don't act like that they don't officiate situations and officiate the score. They do. It's a first quarter calls, they're fourth quarter calls, block charge. There are a lot of different calls that are judgment calls, but that wasn't one of them. You know what I mean? So for them to overcome that, great defense late by Clay, great shot making late also, it was a total team victory. And Wiggins, what about his hustle? Chipping balls in, unsung hero of this game.
He was on the floor. He was diving for balls. One last thing. We have the third quarter team in the Golden State Warriors versus the fourth quarter team in the Memphis Grizzlies. What do you want to see change there in their execution?
So if you're the Memphis Grizzlies, right, it's easy to get a ball to Ja and tell him to take us home. But the problem is they've played with strength in numbers this entire year. They even had a great record without Ja in the game. Get Desmond Bane back on the ball sometime so he can get his offense going. You hope to get Dylan Brooks scoring as well. Here's
what I know, Mr. Rose. This has the potential to be an excellent, exciting, exhilarating series. Kevin O'Connor, head back to you.
Hi, Malika.
Welcome inside our Los Angeles studios. I'm Malika Andrews along with Stephen A. Smith and Jalen Rose. So I just want to take a look at this play right here because Draymond Green was ejected from this first half. Excessive and unnecessary, Stephen A. That's what defines a flagrant 2. What do you think?
I think that's an utterly ridiculous decision by the officiating crew. I mean, what are you doing? Looking for Cottonelle tissue commercials or endorsements or something? This is utterly ridiculous here. I mean, it's a damn shame that this happened. You want to give him a tech? Fine. He clearly tried to hold the person up, okay? You're making a defensive play. It happens. To have the guy ejected and to compromise the potential outcome and to leave us in a position where we're talking about this ejection as opposed to talking about two high-end competitors going after it. I think this tarnishes the level of competition that was out there today. There's no excuse for this decision as far as I'm concerned. It was just utterly egregious.
The refs are supposed to be looking for reasons to keep him in the game.
Yes.
When he was about to hit the ground, Draymond grabbed him to try to soften the blow from him hitting the ground. So as an official, when you see that, and by the way, they hate when I say this, they officiate the situation. They pay attention to who's fouling who. They officiate scoring situation. It's their job to pay attention to that. Lastly, it's the playoffs.
Yeah.
You can't be throwing Draymond Green, the elite defender of the Golden State Warriors, that gives them a chance defensively up front out of a game one and basically putting Memphis in pole position to take this game.
I totally agree. It was a wrong call, but I will say I don't like seeing Draymond Green depart from the game like that. It's nothing to celebrate or to egg anybody on. The Golden State Warriors are deficient without Draymond Green. He's one of the elite defensive players in the game of basketball. So the odds were stacked against them to some degree, especially when Ja Morant opened the game, hitting his first 2 3-pointers, which is a plus. But now you're deficient on the defensive end of the floor. Good luck to Golden State. It's a horrible decision. Horrible.
But the Golden State Warriors might as well be the 31st team in the NBA. They're going to come out blazing in this quarter. Memphis has to be ready for that run.
Well, and it seemed like Steve Javie, from what he was saying, it wasn't the call for the jersey. It was the contact with the face. It still seemed absolutely ridiculous. But did you see the way that Ja Morant ended that half?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a momentum play for these Memphis Grizzlies. Take a look. If you did not see it, Ja Morant with authority to the hoop. We have more coming up after this.
He ain't worried about defense.
Welcome back to to our studio. So we talked about the Draymond Green ejection, but let's go to the other side of the ball because, Stephen A., the Grizzlies are doing a lot right. What did you like?
Well, listen, Ja Morant came out, hit 2 threes. He clearly was watching NBA Countdown before the game when I said, hey, there's some problems with his three-point shooting. He corrected that immediately. So if he continues to do that, I don't see how, with the Draymond ejection, Golden State's going to win this game unless they just come out and blow him out the building.
They're going to need Klay Thompson to step up and give the Golden State Warriors some offense. Great bench play by both teams. Melton came off, Clark came off. As you mentioned, Ja was making threes. But Jaren Jackson Jr. giving Memphis the offense, I think that's going to be a difference.
And Memphis is blocking shots. They're not giving anything on the interior.
Yes. Well, we have the second half of that game coming up. We can see if Ja Morant